Hey, good night. Welcome or welcome back. A couple things to cover before we get into week 12's topic, which is still AI and automation, continuing on from week 11, where you should know by now that live stream got interrupted by YouTube because of their policies. These platforms sometimes, they get really sensitive in terms of things that you're saying, and they don't exactly always pick up the right context because they may be using bots or same AI to just scan the videos or vet them. But after the review, because I did the appeal, which is pretty much the only option, they approved it and that live is back available. But of course, trust my luck, they had cut it at the 18-minute mark. So the rest of that live, where I was essentially talking to myself, is not available anywhere. But tonight, oh, that reminds me, I actually do have to do a backup. Okay, yes. So going forward, I'll be running a separate recording backup in case YouTube decides to cut the live again. Um, but as I said, that live from week 11 last week is available. So when you get a chance, just catch up on that if you haven't or if you weren't present during that live, because I don't want to spend time going over the same information. Because if I'm on a mission to close that knowledge gap we have here in the Caribbean, it won't help me or anybody to just take backward steps or go over the same thing over and over and over. So tonight we're continuing on from last week, and you could see the topic on the screen and everything. This is jumping right into how I actually use AI and automation to run my business. And I'm going to do the live walkthrough. Again, that is where the live cut off last week. And I did it so well, in my opinion. Not really, but I did it. That's the point. I did it. And imagine I have to do that again. So I was talking to the 30-minute mark. Let me try to check in frequently this week to not talking to myself. Okay, great. Um, so last week was about mindset, the systems thinking, the AI positioning, preventing repeat problems, and using systems so everything doesn't really depend on just you or your memory or anything like that. And tonight is going to be about the implementation, the workflows, automation, and some real life examples showing the back end of how I do things and how I run things behind the scenes. So if you didn't catch week 11, I'm going to say it again, just go watch the replay. It does have useful information. So last week was the thinking. Tonight we get into the walkthrough. And jumping right in, let me just say I'm not into fear mongering when it comes to anything, AI included. So I see AI as just a shift in tools. In all the eras gone by, there's been modern tools for whatever. So back in the day, you had cars replacing, well, horses, and then cars replacing things like, donkeys and carts. So my thinking is, yes, everything will always have its pros and cons. The key is to then try to be as informed as possible about whatever tool you're using, use it as responsibly and safely as possible. But I don't think the answer is to just be afraid of change. So anyway, you don't have to be obsessed with AI or use every tool or anything like that, but I think you do need to understand enough about what's happening around you. And even if you're hesitant about AI, I've said it before, it's baked into everything you've been using if you even have a smart device. So it's baked into WhatsApp, Instagram, everything that we use day to day. So are you going to stop using those? Probably not. Anyway, a routine is a system, a calendar reminder is a system, scheduled email is a system, a checklist is a system, and those examples are just there because even if, like I said, you have decided you're not going to touch anything AI based, there's still ways to put simple systems in place that can help you be less stressed and not keep repeating, repetitive tasks over and over again. So the goal is not to add more tools. The goal is to remove friction. And y'all know I love a quick side note. I'm sorry, but up to last week, and this is an example of practicing what I preach. I've mentioned before that I tend to promote not in the sense of I'm getting paid or anything for it, but I do encourage people to stick with things like Google products, especially if you're looking for free or cost-effective ways to do things, because they integrate across devices. I have and iPhone, MacBook. I have used PC, regular computers. So it My Android charging port stopped working last week, and the reason I didn't have to scramble or fully panic or anything like that is because I had all of my data, my Google Authenticator, all these things synced to Google products. So you may know it's not the easiest to transition to or from Android to iPhone or back and forth. So that made things very simple. But anyway, um, if the process is confusing offline, I just want you to know it will be confusing anywhere down the line, like online when you try to get it set up. So before automation, I just want you to understand a few key things. What happens when someone has an inquiry? So we're into the business stuff now, so we're clear. What happens when someone buys? What happens in terms of the information they'll need? What information you'll need from them? What steps repeat every single time? Those are the things you want to think about that you can easily automate in terms of asking yourself those questions when it comes to your business or operation. What do people get confused by? Again, those are things you can automate in terms of adding a simple chatbot that responds to common questions, frequently asked questions, FAQs. And where do you keep doing the same things manually? Again, that's another key point that you want to think of. Okay, this can be or should be automated. And that's where the systems come in. So automation works best when you already understand your process in terms of those points that I just mentioned, and by extension, where automation can best fit. So I'm going to show you now how it works in my own setup. And I'm not showing you to impress you or anything. I'm just showing you because I need you to understand that these tools are accessible to all of us right now, have been for a while, and I need people to get on board and start using them. So I'm going to switch screens now. And anybody could just confirm if you can see the screen I switched to. Okay, just let me know, anybody, if you can indeed see the screen I'm sharing. I should be in a little bubble now. Listen, this live stream often has a lag, so I don't even know if anybody has confirmed, but I'll just move on and go through the information. All right, so this is the back end of how I run my business, and it is a dashboard. I've removed a lot of the information that, would be a little touchy. So you'll see no data found here. But the point is, you can see okay, thanks for confirming, y'all. Okay, this is what I use to run everything, and it keeps me from having to scramble or panic every single day. So it is a dashboard, and here's where I would look at anything that's coming in or whatever. But I'll jump into some key features so I don't overwhelm anybody. Notifications. From there, I can see, okay, I had an appointment reminder for a meeting I had. That was yesterday, for example, but it would show me all my reminders there, any appointments, any tasks I have outstanding, anything like that. There's a conversations tab. I won't show you that one. But the conversations tab allows you to track conversation across this app, yes, but also your email, your social media, and any platforms you connect. So that is the reason why I don't have to scramble and try to check different email addresses, because I do have quite a few for different purposes. I don't have to scramble and check them because I have them all connected in one place, and it can show what comes from where, for example, as well as the social media platforms that I have connected. So right now I have 2 social media platforms connected there. My business one, Terry Lori, on Instagram, and also the Wealth Flow app profile on Instagram as well. So I don't have to necessarily log in on my phone and check them from there. You can check everything one place. Next up, the calendars. I can show you that. In terms of appointments, everything, this is what I use to just track everything. So you can even see, for example, I have the recurring life income lab set there because that is something I want to remember. It's easy to get sidetracked when we have a lot going on. So you can view it by month, by day, by week. I like to see the monthly view because just a preference, but you can go forward, you can go back. So it's going to just show you, well, April 2026, for example, stuff I had going on there. Um, and this does allow you to have multiple calendars. So I do have different calendars for different purposes. So for example, if I know it's going to be a brief call, I set that for 15 minutes. I have another one I have for 30 minutes, and I can duplicate that. I have deactivated some longer ones because oftentimes they're not needed for what I'm doing, but I can set unlimited calendars. And from there, it's just sharing a booking link to somebody if I want them to book, or I can book them in from my end, for example. I will also still try to just check in on the chat to see if there's any questions. Someone said can see here. Here to make sure this live don't cut off. I hope that's how it works. Thank you. All right, back to this. Where are we? So the contacts tab, that is what would house all your contacts. So because I have different sources connected, meaning my social media profiles, my email addresses, all of that, all of those contacts from those sources will show up in that tab. But again, platforms are touchy, don't want to show you that. um, you're too malicious. I'm not showing you my payments, my business. But let's get into the marketing tab. And after that, I really want to get into the automation. That's the real meat of this. But the marketing tab, another very useful one. I am hardly on social media. I've been trying to tell people that those outdated methods of constantly spamming people's inboxes or DMs, it's not necessary. You don't have to be online 24/7. Believe it or not, I don't even like social media. I'm doing this because I found a bigger mission. But I'm not just posting all day, every day online because I don't have to. It's not necessary. And anybody giving that advice, in fact, let me not say that. Different things have a place. Could you post every day online? Yes, that has a place, a time, it has a purpose. However, it's not for most of the things most of us are looking to achieve, which is income, revenue, repeat customers, loyal customers, that kind of stuff. It's not necessary to post every single day, 3 times a day, anything like that. Oftentimes, if you're running a solo operation or have a small business, that is the exact kind of strategy that will burn you out. So it is a strategy. It's hardly ever going to be for people who are already juggling everything and then they're hearing and taking on that advice that's meant for a completely different scenario, and using it to try to earn income and revenue online. It's not necessary. But anyway, so here is where I have my social media accounts connected. What can I do from there? Well, I can plan content, I can schedule it. If I want, in my case, I rarely use it if I'm being honest, because as I said, I hardly post. But the point is, this allows me to still track the conversations from those sources. And as I told you, I have the Terry Lori one connected. That's my Pinterest. Let me zoom in actually. Apologies if I have had things a little small. So that's my Terry Lori accounts on Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, the Wellflow app accounts on LinkedIn, the Terry Lori account on LinkedIn. You can see the icons there, the Facebook pages, all of that. So all of that is possible. And you can also add other social media profiles, pretty much as many as you like, your Google business profile. That's another thing most of you should have, by the way. Anyway, in terms of the content, there is a planner where you can schedule the content, as I mentioned, in terms of creating. You can create content in here, so you could literally create a new post and schedule it directly to the social media profiles. But a quick disclaimer, just about all of the platforms prefer native posting. Now, what does that mean? It means they prefer you to to post live in their app. So if I'm posting to YouTube, or let's say Instagram, that's a better example. They prefer me to go in Instagram from my desktop or phone and post from there directly, as opposed to scheduling. But again, scheduling has a place. So if you're not looking for virality or for your post to go big, that's when I would more use a scheduler. If not, you could still post from your direct app. Anyway, the emails is more what I wanted to show you. This is where you can create email templates. So I am sure by now most of you have had some experience where you sign up for something and you get an email almost instantly. So do you think that person is sitting just waiting by their phone or computer for every time a person sends them, submits a form or clicks a button? Absolutely not. They're using automations from one source or another. So this platform does allow you to send emails by setting up the email templates and going from there, really. So just gonna give you some examples. I don't really have anything to hide, but just don't be too gypsy, as I said. So okay, one of the, let's give an example. Okay, so one of the things I had running was the of my affiliate and referral program that I launched. So I have a landing page for it, and every time someone clicks the CTA, which is the call to action button, it takes them to a basic form where they just have to put in their name, email address, and select the tier that they're applying for. And after that, if I had nothing to happen there, if I didn't have an automation, then what? I would probably have to scramble every time someone submitted something and then, talk to them manually and all of that. So if somebody submits this form at 12 a.m., 5 a.m. in the morning, 11 p.m. at night, it would either mean somebody has to be there to take action, or they don't see anything happening. They're lost. They're wondering, okay, did I submit it correctly? What's going on? To avoid all of that is where a good system and automation comes in. So as you can see here, I have then a welcome email a welcome email template set for that affiliate and referral program. So you can click that, but I'll also show you the automation. So you can set as many email templates as you want, and this serves that purpose. So this says, hi, affiliate first name. So that would automatically pull the affiliates, the person who signed up, their first name and put it in that slot. So it would say, hi, Terry, we're happy to have you as part of our, and it would insert the affiliate campaign name I have there. Let me zoom in.